Last year, the mass hysteria and fake news surrounding loot boxes reached a critical mass around the release of Battlefront 2. It seemed like everyone and their grandma was hopping on board the loot box hate train, which is weird because that sort of mob mentality stuff usually doesn't happen on the internet. The hate was so overwhelming that people overlooked all the benefits that loot boxes have to offer. And yes, they do have some. This may be news to you if you believed all that anti-loot box propaganda, but let this be a lesson to you. Protesting may feel good now, but ultimately it always ends in tear gas. Loot boxes are great because they allow game studios to have a steady stream of income, which allows them to keep developing content for their current game over a long period of time, instead of wasting time and resources making a new game, ever. This is good for consumers since it adds value to the game you already bought. And think about this, you're watching a YouTube gaming video, so it's safe to assume you bought Overwatch for $40, or maybe even bought that special edition with that one Bastion skin for $60 as you're a freaking idiot. The federal minimum wage in America is $7.25 an hour. Using the power of math, we can determine that Overwatch is worth approximately 5.5 hours of your time. Now, have you played Overwatch for more than 5.5 hours? Huh? What's that? You have? Then you are ripping Blizzard off. You played their game for so long, they're entitled to more of your money. And loot boxes are just a fun way to get it. I mean, just look at that little spinny thing the tokens do. It's great. I love it. Now how am I going to pay for rent? And besides, everyone knows that as long as you can earn loot boxes through gameplay, the game company is completely blameless when daddy spends his kid's college fund trying to get a new Winston emote. You should have just grinded for 130 hours, you big dummy. Now let's talk about the G word. Everyone knows that gambling only happens in casinos, smoky backrooms in the 1920s, and gas stations. If buying loot crates was gambling, then the government would regulate it. But did the cops bust down your door last time you bought some gems in literally any mobile game? Didn't think so. They only do that if you're streaming. Buying a key in CSGO isn't gambling. You know exactly what you're getting. A shiny new key. If the key just so happens to open the lock on a crate that contains an item worth 200 times less than the key cost you, that's not Valve's fault. How are they supposed to know it was in there? It was locked. And what about Battlefront 2? The game that the mudslinging games journalists wouldn't stop writing hit pieces about. Learn to think for yourself, people. Don't just get all your opinions from people on YouTube. Wait, if you think about it, being pay to win actually improves Battlefront. Star Wars is inherently unrealistic. I mean, there's no way a primitive jungle insurgency could defeat the greatest empire in the universe. In Battlefront 2, the loot boxes contain star cards, which makes your Boba Fett better than all the other freaking Fetts. By letting people with more money have an advantage over everyone else, Battlefront 2 transcends its Star Wars nature and becomes a simulation of real life, where having a lot of money means you can get out of going to jail, get people to applaud your media monopoly, and let you buy at least 30% of the content for any given Paradox game. Basically guys, what I'm trying to say in this video is give loot boxes a chance. They're not as bad as you think. Now I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Loot Crate. These guys are scummy. If you thought this was funny, then like and subscribe to my YouTube channel please.